My name is Gus Smith. I'm here to talk about installing and implementing the 3-4 defense in your football team and your program. First of all, just a little bit about myself. Started my coaching career at Daphne High School in 2011. I was at Cottage Hill Christian in 2014, and I've been at Mobile Christian since 2015. We've had the top 5 defenses perennially. In 2016, we gave up 9.1 points a game. 2017, we gave up 10.3. 2018, we're the number 1 defense in 1A through 7A statistically in 3 different categories. We played in 2 state championships, and I owe it all to the basis of the 3-4 defense and what it brings to the table. Statistically, some of the best programs in the country run the 3-4 defense. Alabama's based out of it, LSU's based out of it, UAB in Birmingham is based out of it, and I just believe it brings something to the table that kids could fly to the ball, and you can be very multiple out of the 3-4 defense. So let's just get to the basis of it. Let's start from the very bottom. You guys may know a lot about the 3-4 defense, but we're going to start with the very basic principles. You got to have a nose guard. That's where it starts off. That zero technique is what you got to have. He's got to be a big boy playing in the middle. He's got to be a 2-gap player. That's kind of where the 3-4 defense is based on, is everybody has to be 2-gap players. So your zero technique, you have 2 defensive ends. These 2 defensive ends can be very multiple. They don't have to be huge guys. They have to be smart guys and play great sound technique. They can be long. That's how we like them, so they can keep the extension and keep the blockers off of them. So behind the 3 down linemen, that's where you get your 3 and the 4 at. Your 3 down linemen, you have 4 linebackers. You have a Mike and Wills, your inside backers. Your Jack and Sam's, the outside backers. Your inside backers, they line up in 30s. This needs to be tough kids. Your outside backers are going to be apex, which means they're going to be halfway in between the in-man line of scrimmage and the inside receiver on both sides. We'll walk those guys down to play defensive end, so those kids need to be very multiple, which we'll get to in just a second. Behind them, you're going to have 2 safeties. Your safeties are going to be 12 to 15 yards deep. You're going to ask your safeties to roll down in the box sometime and basically become a linebacker. You can have a field safety and you can have a boundary safety if you want, or if you don't have that personnel in your team, you get the best available. On the outside, you're going to have the cornerbacks. These kids have to play in coverage. There's still 2-gap players out there. You're going to ask a lot of your cornerbacks. So that's the basis of the 3-4 defense. That's what you got to have. That's kind of how they line up. So moving forward, speaking of high school, let's start with the zero technique. That's your nose guard. This kid needs to be, it doesn't matter how tall he is, he needs to be at least 275. He needs to be a man child up there, if you say. He's got to be able to play with a high motor. He's got to be kind of the leader of your defensive line. Your 2 defensive ends, like I said earlier, they need to be long and lanky. If you don't have that, you can still go with the nose guard type. They don't have to be as big as that nose guard. They got to play sound technique. They got to be 2-gap players. They got to be able to stop power counter. Your 2 inside linebackers, your Mike is the guy that's going to be your voice in the field as a defensive coordinator. You got to get this kid to buy into what you're doing. He's got to be your best friend. He's got to be the son type of kid, because he's got to be able to talk about things that you guys talk about in the meetings and get kids lined up on the field. The other inside linebacker, needs to be his little brother. He needs to be able to grow into this position. Like I said, these guys are going to line up in 30s, and they're going to be tough kids. Your outside linebackers are going to be very multiple. Your Jack needs to be the best player on your team. That's kind of how we do it. He lines up apex out there, but when we go in our 4-man front, your outside linebacker is going to walk down and basically be playing a defensive end spot. The next play, he may be covering a slot receiver man. So he's going to be a very versatile player with this Jack backer. You're going to send him a lot on blitzes and stunts. We run flip, and when we run flip, he can go to the inside backer, so you can kind of move your jack around a little bit, disguise him and hide him. Your sandbacker on the other side, he needs to be basically about what the jack is. Your two safeties on the back there, they're going to be run stoppers, and they're going to be smart kids in the back. They allow 12 to 15 yards deep. They need to be ball hawks and run stoppers. Your two outside cornerbacks, they need to be able to cover in space. They need to be able to run. These are your track stars in high school. So you coach those kids up, and you can do a lot with your cornerbacks, just as far as kids that you probably have in your school already. So that's the basis of the 3-4 defense. I know that was quick and short, but in closing, you just got to get kids lined up right and ready to play. So to be able to do that, you got to make it simple for them. You got to make it easy. You just got to let them fly around the ball and start with the foundation, build off that, and then you can add your stunts, you can add your blitzes and your coverages, and all the tricky things like that goes along with the basis of the 3-4 defense. Hope you guys enjoyed the principles of installing the 3-4 defense.